Hey everybody, what's up? It's Jordan, and I'm grateful to be joined today by my good friend Isaura. We just graduated Leadership Monterey County together last week, and so we've been talking about possibly getting together on the podcast pretty much the whole time we were in session, and I'm glad we were able to finally make it work. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jordan, for having me. It's a pleasure to finally be able to have a chat, get to know,
Yeah,
for
and
people to hear our conversational story.
absolutely. So I know we chatted a little bit throughout our time in leadership in Monterey County, but for those that don't know you, please introduce yourself and kind of tell us a bit about your story of kind of how you got started and how you wound up here in Monterey County.
I ended up here in Monterey County at the age of 17. I came to the US because I wanted to learn the language. And I have a family member, one of my mom's sisters, who said, send her over for a year. She can come to high school, learn the language for a year, come back to Mexico and continue. I had already graduated from high school in Mexico. So I came, and yeah, I was able to graduate from Allison High School
Awesome.
and in a year. But then I heard one of my friends was like, ah, you know what a community college is? And I was like, well, in Mexico, the educational system is not like here. Like from in Mexico, you go like straight from high school to a 4 year. Here you have the option of community college or the 4 year. So I was like, yeah, so they took me over to Hartnell College and I talked to my parents in Mexico and they were like, okay, you can stay 2 more years, finish your AA, and then come back. But then in the meantime, I needed to work. And then at work, I met my husband. And then, long story short,
The
we got
rest is history.
married. And then I stayed here. So I never went back to live in Mexico. I always went back to visit my family, my parents.
Oh, that's very cool. And what part are you from?
Michoacán. Well,
Awesome.
Michoacán, Guanajuato. Yeah, my dad worked for Pemex for 25 years. He was
Wow.
a chemical engineer. So I grew up part in Salamanca, Guanajuato, and then part of Michoacán because that was the family, and we used to go visit my grandparents when they were alive. So we were always in between both places.
Very cool. I went to my first trip to Michoacán was last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, in Morelia for a wedding, and
Oh,
beautiful, best
beautiful.
carnitas of my life.
Yes, yes, carnitas, gazpacho.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
good, so good. I love definitely, grew up going to Mexico. My dad's family's from Juarez, and we used to visit an orphanage there with the church that I was a part of here in California. Um, But since I got married to my wife, we have gone to Mexico a lot more than I did before. And she has family in Jalisco. Also, we have friends in the tequila industry. So I have fallen back in love with Mexico and can't wait to visit as often as I possibly can. I think a lot of people after the pandemic realized like how great it is, for better or for
It,
worse.
It is in every aspect. We still have a lot of like the cultural heritage, especially
hmm
like in smaller cities. Like Morelia is not small, but it still has a lot of it, and then the pueblos around it. So it's beautiful. The combination in between like modern, but then history and just the food and the traditions.
Now, so you visited family here and you met your husband here in this area. Did you ever live anywhere else in California or the
I
States?
have not. I visited many places, and I used to come with my parents on vacation when I was little. So I had been here already in Monterey County and had visited, everything that we have around. And that was when I was small. But then I have not. I have not. Just Mexico and here in Salinas. It's the places that I've been like staying for, living.
Right. So you mentioned, okay, LSL High School, and then did you go to Hartnell College?
I did go to Hartnell College, but then I got married, and then after I got married, I finished my AA at Heald College back in the time,
Yep.
but then years passed and finished my BA in sociology in 2017. It took
Okay,
me a
great.
while, when you have
Life
to
happens.
get stable, you're
Yeah,
married. I had two daughters. So I did have my daughters while I was going to college and finishing up, and of course, with the support of my husband.
that's awesome. Yeah, everyone has their own path to walk. And even for me, I was a good student in high school and wanted to play basketball in college, but I took a different path, and I didn't go to school until about 2 years ago. So I'll be finishing up a Hartnell this fall. And so it's never too late to go back, you know?
No, it's never late. It's never late. As long as you have the desire of doing it, and it's important for, even for those in your family or those behind you to see that you're doing it. Doesn't matter the time, it doesn't
Hmm.
matter nothing.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll be at CSUMB in the spring. Where did you get your bachelor's?
Grand Canyon University.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Awesome. And what made you choose sociology?
because of what I do with the community. I've been doing a lot of my work has been always helping others. I started my first professional job was at Mi Pueblo Food Center back in the time in 2004 or 5 when it opened. So I was 19 and they gave me the opportunity to be their HR payroll coordinator at the time. It was my first job. I don't know
Oh,
what they saw
wow.
in me, but I was a liaison between the corporate office.
That's an important job for your first one.
Yes, and I remember the interview that the store director did to me. I was going to Hartnell. So the assistant store director came to me because I started working at the meat department when they saw where they say cheese and cream, sour cream and
Yeah.
all
Deli.
of that. Yeah, because I was going to Hartnell. And the assistant store director came up to me and she was like, Isaurita, do you know how to speak English? It was like my second year in the US. And I was like, yes, you go to college? Yes. So she's like, oh, so they're gonna be hiring somebody for, the main office here at the store. And I was, do you want to interview? I was like, of course. I was like, oh my God. So I went in and they did an interview and they're like, okay, yeah, the job is yours. So they would let me go to college in the morning and then I would come in at 1 p.m. to
So
work.
cool.
And then, but I was managing, like I learned a lot about HR, food safety, procedures for hiring, firing people, employee manuals, budgeting, inventories,
Microsoft Office.
everything, everything, everything.
Yeah.
And because I did speak English, and the store manager, the department managers, most of them were not bilingual. So I would even have to do their inventories in the computer, and I learned a lot in that job. I had 200 employees at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds, I think I have a similar, you sound similar to me in that, it wasn't so much one particular job or one particular location or college that you felt like was your calling. It was more helping people. And then along
Mhm.
the way, different opportunities opened up and
Mhm.
you just kind of stepped into those opportunities and life
Mhm.
happens. You get married, you have children,
Mhm.
you make adjustments. Because some people are so set on like, "Oh, I have to do this, I have to follow this path." For some people that works, but for other people, that's not realistic. Life happens and you kind of make adjustments as
You
you
have
go.
to. You have to because I think that's adaptability is a skill that is very important to master on if you can. Because after Mi Pueblo, I moved jobs and I started working at Hartnell College.
Oh, wow.
So from being in retail, then I got hired at the Alisal campus with the high school equivalency program. But also was very similar in a way because my job was to help farm working people get their high school diploma and continue their education. It's a grant. They still have it from the federal government, and that's the guideline of the grant. They have to continue their education, at least going into some sort of like degree at a community college. So it still was kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, that's amazing that you did that work. And not that having a degree solves all of your problems, but it definitely can open some doors.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, including myself, disqualify themselves from pursuing it because they're
Hmm.
intimidated by the process. They're afraid of the paperwork. They're afraid of, not being able to pay their bills and provide for their family while also pursuing something for themselves. I think a lot of people struggle, especially in the Latino community, struggle to do things for themselves
Hmm.
because it's always kind of about family or your siblings or your parents, your grandparents, and so for you, for someone to have an individual goal, culturally, sometimes it feels a little bit weird. Did you ever struggle with that?
It does, even as of today. So I worked for that program for a few years and I moved into the main campus, worked at the student services, finished there working with the college pathways team with some boarding transition from high school to higher ed. And then I worked with Catherine Styler at Creative Commons. We worked
No way,
together.
really? I
Yes,
didn't know
I
that.
did work. Yes, we worked at 3 years together. So that was another organization that was completely different and eye-opener because I got to work with people from all over the globe.
Oh, wow.
And it was amazing. It was really, really, really amazing. Then I worked for First Tee Monterey County And right now, I'm the executive director of Salinas Community Science Workshop and work with the El Salino School District as community schools manager.
Very cool. So
Yeah,
yeah, tell
so
us
that's
more
what I
about
do.
your current project. On one hand, if you just look at all those things on paper, they don't seem related, but you are kind of the thing that ties it all together in your mission of helping people. Tell us about the current thing,
Exactly.
project that you're involved with. Tell us more about it.
With Salinas Community Science Workshop is a nonprofit that focuses on programming of STEM programming. So we have a science on wheels MST full size bus that is converted into a science lab, and we bring it to different schools. We contract with
So
school
cool.
districts for any partners. We bring projects and we align the curriculum that the teachers are seeing within the elementary school to our projects every time we visit. And then with
Very
the
cool.
community schools at the Alice School District, that I'm a school site and I coordinate a community center. So I have to bring partnerships, bring resources, write grants, and bring that support for the needs of the school. But I was mentioning all of this because what you asked me about if I have ever felt some sort of like you know, any comments from the society or people around.
Yeah.
Yes, because being a female involved in all of these roles is not common. I'm a
Mm.
Mexicana. Expected to, and we're breaking the barriers right now. We're changing the culture, I think, for the newer generations. Because instead of that jobs, I'm in different boards in the
Yeah.
community. So I'm not the typical mom that is, cooking all the time, or there's days that I get home at past 9 p.m. and I left at 8 in the morning. And
Right.
it's not common, it's like, well, you're not taking care of your family. Well, you're not there, but you can make it work.
Yeah.
And I was in my daughter's life forever. I still am, but they're sufficient old enough to be also independent and then see me thriving. And I think it's important to share like, hey, as a mom, as Aura, as a female, I want to pursue my goals.
Yeah.
We forget, I was like, oh, the wife, the mom, the employee, but what about the woman, you know? So
Right.
I feel that I'm doing a lot of good in the community. That's what I feel. And also being fulfilled.
Well, you are doing a lot in the good in the community. I mean, anyone who knows you knows that. And I mean, you're right. I mean, it's going to be 2026 and times are changing and some folks want that more traditional role in their household and some people
Right,
want to take it in a different direction. And both can be beautiful,
right,
right? And so in your case,
right.
obviously your family dynamic works for you and that's you and your family and it's been a great thing. It's beautiful. For others, they maybe have a more traditional dynamic and that works for them too. But
Right.
I
Exactly,
think you need,
exactly.
yeah, I think you need every type of experience and every type of perspective because everyone has something to
Yeah.
bring to the table. But you're right, it takes a team, whether it's within your own household or within your office or within a school district. It takes a team to make it all work.
Mhm.
Because, like you said, the people that are there's people that just have a job and then they go home, right? And then there's other people that have a job and a family and they're also trying to get back to the community. And like you said, some days you start the morning early and you end it, you start it dark and you end it dark. And I appreciate my wife because I'm the same way. I'm on some boards, I'm going to these meetings and these meetings and it's like, I do my best to communicate of why the bigger picture, why this is important. And it does take having a partner that understands that.
It does. It does. And making time for them, I'll try
Of
to have
course.
my weekends, bring them my family whenever I can to these events, or this yeah, different events that we have to be in the community. Uh, but I also want to be some sort of like an inspiration for my daughters or whoever is around me, because so they can see the difference. If I did it coming in to the US, not knowing the language at an older age, they can do it, you know,
Right.
they can do it. And that's kind of like how I want them to see, or if I can leave some sort of like a seed in the world that I can, that I did it, that will be, how am I gonna leave, please, after
So
I'm
one of the
gone.
things one of the things that you're a part of, which is incredible, because it's one thing to volunteer for, there's levels to it, right? So one thing to volunteer to
Right.
help out once in a while, maybe let's say at church or maybe for your kids' team or something like that. All of those things are important. But you were also on the board of Salinas Valley Health, which is a multi-million dollar budget healthcare system that serves thousands of people every day here in the region. Our last day for Monterey, our leadership Monterey County was healthcare day. And so we got to hear from Kaiser, we got to hear from Montage, and we ended the day with Salinas Valley Health and just understanding how much they do to serve our community. Tell us about how that opportunity came up and what you've learned being one of the board members or the trustees. I'm not sure the title there, but one of the trustees of
We're
the Salinas
directors
Valley
of the
Health
we're directors of the board.
board
Um,
directors.
I board directors, yes. So I'm in other four boards with the Democratic Women of Monterey County, Siembra Latinos through Community
Yeah.
Foundation of Monterey, and I'm part of the Latina Professionals National Board, as well as I founded a chapter here in the county.
Dang.
And through those through those organizations, I've been able to connect and meet a lot of people. So one of my good friends let me know that there was a vacancy at the Salinas Valley Health Board, and she nominated me because I we represent different zones. So I'm in zone three, which is mainly the east side. I live off Crickbridge, so
Hmm.
it still falls on that end. And she was like, "You should, I gave your name. You should apply." So I got a notification that I was nominated. I sent my resume and everything, and then I had an interview with the board and the legal counsel and everybody. But I left it at that. I said, well, it's a big board. What are the odds? And the imposter syndrome sometimes comes, and we
Of
have to fight
course,
it.
of course, of course.
So anyway, they then had a special board meeting, and I was voted in. And I'll be serving this, well, almost the majority of this year. I started in March, and my term will end next year in 2026 at the end. So I'll see if I want to go for reelection or not. I'm still processing it and thinking about it. I definitely love it because it's an opportunity to represent the community. The zone that I represent is crucial to me to create access, work with the system, and how we create these pathways for the community, especially farm working, especially
Yeah.
there's a lot of need. So that's how I ended up in there. I believe I'm the first Latina female to be in that board, and that's something that makes me feel proud as well. But
Yeah.
I love getting to know more of the system, how it has expanded, what are the plans for the future, and how can we better support those plans.
Well, we know that, I mean, we're so fortunate to have you in that position because we know how
Thank you.
important healthcare is, especially locally. Obviously, we learned just the other day about some of the statistics, and it impacts all of us in one way or another. We're going to interact with the healthcare system locally,
Exactly.
hopefully in a positive way, but one way or the other, we're going to interact with the healthcare system. And so having someone who understands the community and can relate to the community is huge because, I mean,
Thank
as we
you.
know, historically, that sometimes can be an issue for certain demographics as far as mistrust of the healthcare system or of being afraid to access services or whatever the case might be, especially under the current dynamics. People are scared to pursue anything official or hospitals or schools or government agencies. I mean, I work in the government sector and it can be challenging. People are just uncertain. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And so
Exactly.
having someone who has the experience that you do to be able to bring that voice of just explain things and in a way that people will understand so that they feel more confident accessing the healthcare that they deserve.
Yes, definitely. That is the goal, and get work together with the board on how we better suffice the needs of Monterey County is so diverse.
Hmm.
We have from the richest people of the world to the ones that are in most need. How do we suffice the needs of everybody? That is a big challenge. How do we provide the same equity of service.
Yeah.
And I think we have a great board that we're working together, learning and trying to do the best that we can to support the community and the system. They're great. I had the pleasure to meet a lot of people that works at Salinas Valley Health, and I can just say that everybody's passionate of what they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
They are really passionate, and that is really great for me to see every time that I step go into a meeting or have an interaction with anyone at the hospital.
Well, it's not only, like you said, it's not only how it interacts with the public in the providing of the healthcare, but it also is one of the biggest employers in the region as well. And
Mhm.
every other economy is affected by that. The school
Right.
districts, the realtors, the restaurants, everything, right? And
Yeah.
so Salinas Valley Health, that's a huge economic impact, not only in healthcare, but also in every other sector of the economy. So speaking of the different sectors of the economy, how did you find out about and how was your experience with Leadership Monterey County?
I found out about Little Monterey County through my good friend Ana Velasquez,
Oh
mayor
yeah,
of the city of Soledad.
Anna's the
Uh,
best.
Yeah, I love, oh, we're hermanas. I love, we met at Hartnell College. She worked for a
No way.
couple of years
So cool.
there before she was even, part of anything like mayor or anything,
Yeah.
nothing. So we got along really well. And through the year, we have never stopped talking. We still connect, have lunch, birthday celebrations. And she told me about Leadership Monterey County. She's like, hey, so you should apply. I did it and I loved it. So that's how I learned about the program, and I definitely fell in love with it. I can recommend it to anyone. I've been already
Yes.
telling some of my friends because of the uniqueness that it has, that we were able to get to know Monterey County from the back end.
Yeah.
It's not, you hear about Taylor Farms, you hear about the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and we've been there, but we were able to see the behind the scenes. How is it real, the day to day, and all of the other industries that we went at, even the
Mhm.
cities, we went to the city of Soledad, seeing like the mayor in action with her team. It's something that we don't get to see all the time. It's
Yep.
one time, right? So that was great, and also the networking. We got to meet there. We got to meet a
Yep.
lot of amazing people and create new relationships. That at the end of the day, everyone that was in the program has the same goal in common. That is help the community, the Monterey County community thrive. How do we work together? And I think everybody that was there was shares the same passion that you and I share.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm excited to continue with the alumni network because
Yeah.
we had such a great time learning when we would all be together on these trips. But the other part of it was connecting with each other on the bus, right? Or before we left, or maybe for drinks afterward. And you really
Mhm.
realize like, wow, there's a lot of influential people in this group. And if we just kind of stay connected and, you know, we can get a lot done together,
Mhm.
whether it's
Mhm.
directly or indirectly. And so I think that's one of the best things about it. Like you said, everyone has a similar passion and calling
Mhm.
within their whatever it is that they do in their world. They just want to make this region better. And I think if we
Mhm.
all do our part, it's definitely going to be better because of it.
I think so. I agree, and I'm looking forward to continue the
So
the the, the connections.
absolutely. You have one of the most impressive and unique resumes that I know. Like, what an amazing story you have. Now you have all this accomplished. You have the family, you have the career. This maybe you didn't have all this planned, but it's unfolded in this really cool way. What is next for you? What are you excited about in the near future?
Wow, that is a good question. I want to continue supporting the community either way. If it's through a bigger organization, hopefully I would like to also to grow professionally. I'm an executive director. Well, today I wish I could be one day in a higher position, leading an organization here in Monterey County. But definitely I'll continue with my community work. I really, really love it, even though it's a lot of time, but hopefully being able to create more pathways for the community, but definitely growing professional. Hopefully one day be a CEO. That will be a
There you
goal
go.
of my in my life.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I
And then of
definitely
course
think you
with
have what
that,
it takes. I've seen you in action.
thank you, thank you. So that is what is hopefully coming for me, and then you know, just enjoy my retirement, maybe younger than 65. hopefully younger. That's the goal,
Yep.
because so I can continue doing this coming. I don't think I'm gonna stop doing it until God doesn't allow me to.
Well, and
I
that's
really
yeah,
like it.
that's the beauty of when you can kind of live your life by design or when you're doing the type of work that we're talking about. To me, retirement is just the freedom and flexibility to do what you want to do, right? So
Mm.
we all have bills to pay. So whatever you got to do to pay the bills, do what you got to do. But like you said, if you can get to the point sooner than later where you're doing it on your terms, meaning your schedule and your travel and who you work with, really it's what you spend your time doing and who you spend your time with. That to me is like retirement and freedom, right? Because like you said, till the day that that God calls us home, we're gonna be working hard and trying to help people. It's not gonna stop at 55
No,
or 65 or whenever, right? So hopefully we make it that far. But thank you so much
hopefully.
for your hope. Thank you so much for your time, for everything you do for the community. Your
Thank
story is
you.
inspiring, and
Thank
you
you.
could see it. I loved going to all the different places, and I'm someone who knows a lot of people. And every time I thought that I know a lot of people, I would be somewhere next to you and I'd be like, man, who is this girl? She knows everybody. I thought I knew everybody. And so it's really cool to see a group of people that are that way in their respective worlds come together, and which made it even more fun as a group. And there was no ego. It was everyone just got along great. And it's such a weird and interesting, diverse mix of people that we had in our class. And so
It
uh
was.
I'm excited to continue our friendships and networking and collaborating on some projects. So thank you so much. I hope you have a happy holidays. I appreciate
Same
your
to you and
time.
your family. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much, and we'll talk soon, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye bye.